Hi, I'm Jeff Murrah, and I want to welcome you to True Texas History. Today is May the 6th, and yesterday I went ahead and told you the story about what happened today at the Battle of the Wilderness and the whole origin of Texans always move them. And I want to tell you a few more wrinkles to the story that I think that you'll find quite interesting. And it focuses on Mary Gregg. Now, Mary Gregg was the wife of General John Gregg, and General John Gregg was the commander of the Texas Brigade at that time. Now, John and Mary had been married since 1855, and they originally married in Alabama and were from that area. He moved to Texas and set up a thriving legal practice, and things were going well, and they were doing good in terms of their farm, and it was profitable until the war came along. And with the war, it changed things. Now, her husband John was very outspoken, and he had been part of the secession convention and had been elected one of the delegates to the Confederate Congress, which he went to and served in the Confederate Congress until the fighting started with the Battle of Manassas, and then he returned home, became the regimental commander of the 7th Texas Infantry, and the 7th Texas Infantry saw action throughout the Mississippi Theater. In fact, Mary joined John and was with him at the camp many times until he went into combat. He was there at Fort Donelson when it surrendered. He served some time in a prisoner of war camp, then was paroled, and she went ahead and met with him there when he came home, and she was overjoyed and stayed with him some as he served in Mississippi, and then he found himself fighting in the Vicksburg Campaign, was a brigade commander, and in one of the battles he was still in charge of the 7th Texas, reconstituted, and some other regiments thrown in. They found themselves essentially 3,000 men up against 13,000 Yankees. They had very stiff odds, and they held their ground, but eventually gave way. He's oftentimes would suffer wounds, and she would nurse him back to health. After that engagement, he found himself at Chickamauga. And at Chickamauga, he was involved in some heavy fighting, got wounded in the neck. Once again, Mary came there to his side and helped him. After Chickamauga, he distinguished himself enough to be promoted to commanding the Texas Brigade, and they had a very emotional parting. He took a train north, she took a train south to stay with her parents, and he served as the commander of the Texas Brigade throughout the Chancellorsville, Spotsylvania, Battle of the Wilderness fighting, which was heavy-duty fighting, and he ended up getting killed in combat there in Virginia. And Mary took it upon herself that she was going to go retrieve his body, even though it was behind enemy lines. She started on her journey, had a nervous breakdown, had to rest for a while, and then continued it. It was a several 100-mile journey to get to Virginia behind enemy lines, recover her husband's body, and return back to Mississippi, which she did. And then after the war, Mary was very involved in the movement they called it Decoration Day, where the women would decorate the graves of their loved ones, and people who served with their loved ones. And this was in 1868 there in Mississippi. And the Southern women, they would decorate the graves of the Southerners, and then they looked and they saw that the graves of the Union soldiers had not been decorated. So they took it upon themselves to put flowers and decorate them as well, because, I mean, they were somebody's husband and somebody's brother, and they felt that they needed to be decorated as well. And from this movement, the observance, which we now know as Memorial Day, developed. It started there. Now, there's a lot of debate over where it started. She was involved in where it was happening in Mississippi, and they made it a point of decorating the graves of soldiers who served, no matter which side. They felt that these people exercised courage, and they needed to be remembered by their loved ones and others. And the Decoration Day became Memorial Day. Now, the official the official story of Memorial Day, they attribute to a ceremony that occurred in Waterloo, New York. Congress and LBJ decided to make that the birthplace of Memorial Day. I think a stronger case could be made for Memorial Day starting there in Mississippi, and Mary Gregg being a big part of the effort to start Memorial Day there. And since this month has Memorial Day, I figured that it would help to know some of the story behind one of the people who was highly involved, Mary Gregg. Now, Gregg County of Texas is named for her husband, and that is one of the ways that we remember him. I hope you enjoyed the story. It was a quite fascinating story to find out about, because we need to remember the sacrifices and the accomplishments of people who went before. Give praise where praise is needed and criticism where criticism is needed. But until next time, this is Jeff Murrah wishing you vaya con Dios. Good day, my friends. Goodbye.